All right, guys, so we got to talk about Harry Markle because I am not calling this man Prince Harry. He's not my prince. I am not from the UK. I don't have a UK citizenship, British citizenship. I ain't got nothing to do with that, bruh. Because as far as I'm concerned, we, the United States of America, severed our relationship with Great Britain when we signed the Declaration of Independence, okay? And after that, we don't give one F about what the royal family says over there, okay? We don't care about them in their monarchy, right? However, Prince Harry, who basically has been, I don't know, kind of kicked out of the UK because his wife, Meghan Markle, is not really liked by the royal family. So like a simp, he followed her over here to the United States of America and has been living here. He's not a citizen. He doesn't really have a job. He doesn't contribute anything positive to our society at all. However, it seems like he always got something to say about our Constitution and our rights. And most of the things he has to say are always critical of our Constitution and our rights. Again, I find this to be absolutely incredible. Okay, and this time he took to the world stage to criticize us once again, stating that our constitutional rights have been rolled back in regards to Roe v. Wade being overturned. Now, I want to react to that, but before I get into that, we have to have a word and a thank you message from our sponsor, Noble Gold. Now, with inflation at 8.6% and climbing, you're going to need some help to get back to financial safety. Call them, and Noble Gold's experts will share their knowledge of gold IRAs so you won't have to worry about a thing. And if you're quick, they're giving away an incredible 1/10 ounce American Eagle gold proof coin with every qualifying IRA or 401k rollover. You can't go wrong with gold. Call the team now at 877-646-5347 to find out more or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this speech that Harry Markle gave at the UN, in which he basically complained about U.S. constitutional rights being rolled back because Roe v. Wade has been overturned. Take a look.
In those circumstances, how many of us would have lost hope and let our life belts slip away? How many of us would have been broken by a system designed to do exactly that? And let's be honest, how many of us are in danger of losing those life belts right now? How many of us feel battered, helpless, in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation? I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom, the cause of Mandela's life. According to Freedom House, our world has grown less free every year for more than a decade and a half.
Now, this guy right here is a mega simp, right? He's a mega simp, okay? And this mega simp has the audacity, he has the cojones, the unmitigated gall to go on the world stage at the UN and complain about the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States. And what he's complaining about is not even a constitutional right, okay? You do not have a constitutional right to abortion, okay? It's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution. However, the irony here is, it's not just him, right, but other European leaders, like Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, who said that abortion is a fundamental right for all women that must be protected. And they're saying stuff like this. However, in France, the limit for abortion is 16 weeks, which for the case of Dobbs versus Jackson, that outlaw abortion in Mississippi passed the 15th week of pregnancy. In the UK, the country that Mr. Markle is from, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson called the court's ruling a, quote, big step backwards. However, Britain's abortion law allows women to have an abortion up to 24 weeks after pregnancy, after the approval from 2 doctors who must agree having the baby would pose a greater risk to the physical or mental health of the woman than a termination. So again, you have countries in Europe that have way stricter abortion laws than a lot of places here in the United States. However, they're coming out here virtue signaling, criticizing what's going on here in the United States as a step back for women. And it's like, bro, if that's a step back for women, then that means that women in y'all countries, they must be super oppressed, right? They must not have no rights at all, because you guys are way stricter on this issue than we are, right? For the most part. Again, it blows my mind, the people that have so much to say about this topic, okay? And when it comes to Mr. Markle, again, it's funny how he talks about and complains about the rolling back of constitutional rights. However, this man has come out and said that he is vehemently against the First Amendment here in the United States. He called it bonkers, right? The First Amendment of the United States is bonkers, the right to freedom of speech, because apparently freedom of speech is dangerous, right? Freedom of speech is dangerous. And we shouldn't be surprised by this, because in Europe, they don't have freedom of speech, okay? They don't have the right to freedom of speech like we do here in the United States. Let me tell you how much this guy's a simp, right? This guy is such a simp, okay, that he decided to sell his hunting rifles, his hunting guns. He sold his hunting guns to please his wife, who is anti-gun, and apparently she's a conservationist and an animal rights activist. So apparently she didn't like the fact that this man hunts, okay, and has guns, so he decided to sell them to please her, okay? Not only did he sell his guns, his right to self-defense, okay, which he has here in the United States, not so much in, other places in Europe, right? He also moved to the United States, basically shunned his own family for this woman, okay? This dude is the biggest simp in the world, and I don't want to hear anything this guy has to say about what's going on here in the United States, because he is for the rolling back of constitutional rights, actual constitutional rights. He's against them in the United States. He doesn't like them, right? He doesn't like them. Again, it blows my mind. But what blows my mind even more than this is what the Vice President of the United States had to say about this issue at a recent conference, in which she was talking to the NAACP about this issue, Roe v. Wade being overturned, and she basically compared it to slavery. Take a look.
United States Supreme Court, the highest court of our land, the former court of Thurgood Marshall, took a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America. We know, NAACP, that our country has a history of claiming ownership over human bodies.
Yeah, so this is what you do when you don't have an argument against why do you think it's okay to kill black babies, okay? What you do is you tell black people, you say, hey, this is like slavery, right? It's like slavery, okay? And apparently, Karine Jean-Pierre, the affirmative action press secretary, was pressed on Kamala Harris, comparing Roe v. Wade being overturned to slavery. And as per the usual, she acts ignorant on this and acts like she doesn't know what Kamala actually said. Take a look.
Just following up on something the vice president said today, does the president agree with her that the recent Supreme Court decision on abortion access is similar to slavery?
I have not seen her comments. I would like to see her comments for myself
Her comment
before.
was, we know at NAACP that our country has a history of claiming ownership over human bodies. And today, extremist so-called leaders are criminalizing doctors and punishing women from making healthcare decisions for themselves.
Well, she is correct. Today's decisions are criminalizing doctors and essentially taking the rights away from women, taking the freedom away from women, really taking away people's privacy. That does matter, and that is important.
Slavery, so the president agrees.
For me, I appreciate you reading out what she said. I need to actually see exactly what was said, and in what complete context. That's what I need to do as a spokesperson for the administration.
Yeah, so that's an amazing answer, right? Because she says that, well, I really didn't hear what she said, so I can't comment on it. Peter reads what she said, and then she says, yeah, well, I agree with what Kamala's saying about how women's rights are being taken away. I agree with that. However, I can't agree or comment on the comparison to slavery because I got to get the full context. And I'm like, well, how in the world can you agree with anything she said if you don't have full context, right? How can you agree with the part where you're like, oh, yeah, women's rights are being taken away, right? And then you reiterate that point, but yet you can't comment on the part about slavery, which you compare women's rights being taken away to slavery. Again, it's amazing how that works, okay? This person should be fired, right? She is the worst White House press secretary in history. The worst one in history. But again, guys, this is what you do when you don't have an argument. You compare it to slavery. You pull the race card, okay? That's what you do. When this has nothing to do with slavery, you don't have a constitutional right to abortion. Slavery is actually outlawed in the Constitution. If you're not in prison, that is. But I'm just saying, yeah, you actually can't hold slaves, okay? Slavery being outlawed is actually in the Constitution, right? Unlike abortion, okay? Again, it blows my mind how ignorant these people are on the actual founding document of the United States. But maybe it's not necessarily ignorance. Maybe they're just trying to push false talking points and false narratives because, once again, like I tried to tell you guys, they believe their followers and their base are dumb, right? That's what it is. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.